All right, so today we are going to be looking at a Horns offense, a complete guide to the Horns offense for youth basketball teams. So, what we're going to be looking at is how we set up a Horns offense, right? Exactly what that formation looks like. And then we're going to look at some easy plays that we can use to run our Horns offense, starting at some basic Horns offensive basketball plays, then making them a little bit more complicated so that we can use them with younger teams as well as older teams. So lots of Horns stuff that we're going to talk about today. So the Horns offense starts with a very specific formation, right? And we'll talk about that, a little bit more in a minute, but it's a very specific formation when you look at a Horns offense. So to start, we're going to have our two bigs. It can be any players, but typically we're going to have them be our two bigs, and they're going to start at the two elbows. We're going to position them at the two elbows. So as we can see, we have one here, our 4. We're going to have one here, our number 5. So those are our two bigs positioned at the elbows. Now, this doesn't have to always be your two bigs, but more often than not, in Horns offensive basketball plays, we make those two players our two bigs, right? And then we put two wing players or two guard players in the wings / the corners, right? So as we can see right here, right, we have a player on the wing, a player on the wing, right? You can also stick them in the corner as well, depending on the Horns play that you're running. So generally speaking, right, this is a Horns formation. Then we also have our point guard up top, usually starting obviously with the basketball. So that's how it would look in a Horns formation. Now, let's go over some basketball plays that we can run with the Horns, right? We'll recap this formation, but let's start with some basic plays that we can run in a Horn set, but also some more advanced plays that maybe we can look at with some older teams as well. All right, so let's take a look at a few Horns offensive sets. Before we get into anything too complicated, let's just take a look at your most basic Horns offensive set, and that is a double screen for the point guard. So when you're looking at, youth teams and younger age groups and stuff like that, and you want to teach them that basic Horns play, right? What you're typically going to teach them is, a basic double pick and roll, pick and pop with the two players at the elbows, which in this situation is number 4 and number 5. So what we're going to have is number 4 come up and set a ball screen for number 1. Number 5 come up and set a ball screen for number 1. And whichever side number 1 uses the screen for, right? Say right here it's number 4 is going to use the screen for number 4, right? Whichever side that is, the screener is going to roll to the basket. So right now we have a pick and roll between number 1 and number 4. And then the other player, right, when they set that screen is going to pop. So they're going to stay nice and wide up here. So in that way, we have a pick and roll potential lane to the basket here for number 1. We have a roller with number 4. We also have some three-point shooters in case one of them are open with number 2 and number 3. And we also have somebody open up top with number 5. So that's kind of our most basic Horns offensive set, right? We have our, point guard up top, and we have that double screen being set. But like I said, our main goal with the Horns offense, like how we're going to start that every single time, is to have our two players here at the elbow, right? That is what we mean by Horns. Okay, so let's take a look at something a little bit more detailed, a little bit more, advanced with 2 or 3 more Horns offensive basketball sets. Okay, so let's take a look at this Horns offensive basketball set. Now, this one's going to give us a few different options. It's going to get our players continuously moving, so you're not just going to have one option to the basket or one option for a shot. You're going to have somebody curling open for an outside jump shot, but you're also going to have a pick and roll come from this as well. So let's take a look at it. So we're going to start here with the ball, obviously, in the hands of our point guard. Then we have our two players setting up in a Horn-style offense at the elbow of the key. Now, this player here, number 3, you're going to want that player to be a shooter, someone that you can get open for the basketball, because that player is going to be curling for an outside shot. So the first thing that we're going to have here is number 4, and they're going to come up and set a little decoy screen here on number 1. So this screen is not really super effective in the play, but it's just kind of something to get things started so it's not super predictable. So we have that first screen being set here from number 1. Now, if number 1 comes off that screen and they, for some reason get a wide open lane to the basket, or if they, get the opportunity to pull up there at the 3-point line, they can take that, but this is not really a huge part of the play. Now, what's going to happen immediately after 4 sets that screen is they're going to go set another screen down here for that other player set up at the elbow, number 5. And number 5 is going to come off that screen, and they are setting another screen here for our point guard. So a lot of screens being set to start things off. So number 5, like I said, is sending another screen right here for our point guard. Our point guard is coming off that screen with the basketball, right? So number 1 obviously has the basketball. They're coming off that screen. So now we have the opportunity here for a pick and roll between number 1 and number 5. But as that is happening, number 4 is going to go immediately set another screen here for number 3, and number 3 is going to curl. So we have that pick and roll to the basket now between number 5 and number 1, but we also have, if the defense is collapsed or the defense collapses for some reason, we'll have number 3 out here to kick it out to as well for an outside three-point shot. So multiple different options here within this horn set. Let's take a look at it one more time and run through it pretty quick. So we'll reset at the ball up top in our point guard's hands, and we have number 3 here in the corner, ready to shoot the basketball. So it starts, we're going to have that screen being set right here for number 5. This is a decoy screen. Like I said, can we have a lane to the basket? Can we look for it? Yeah. Are we probably going to get it? Most likely not. But then number 5 is immediately going to go set another screen for number 4. Okay, as that is happening, number 4 is going to come set a screen here for the point guard. So the point guard's moving a little bit more toward the middle again. So we have that screen being set right here. Okay, then this player is going down and setting a screen for number 3. Number 3 is curling to the basket as number 1 and number 4 run a pick and roll. So we can potentially get an outside three-point shot here for number 3, or a wide open lane for either our point guard or our roller in number 4. All right, folks, I need to quickly stop right there before we move into our next topic to mention that right now, 97.1% of our daily viewers are not subscribed to our channel. So that means if you are one of these people, if you are one of these 97.1% who are not currently subscribed but are watching this video, it would be greatly appreciated if you could take the time real quick to hit that subscribe button. It will help us continue to make content like this, continue to make basketball plays for other coaches, basketball drills for other players, and basketball, everything that both players and coaches and organizations alike can use. So again, if you could really quickly take the time to hit that subscribe button, it'll just take 2 seconds. It would be greatly appreciated. But moving on to our next topic. Okay, so the next Horns offensive basketball play that we're going to look at today combines the Horns offense and the flex offense. Now, for anybody that follows us, checks out our plays, you would know that, I'm a huge fan of the flex offense. And, I'm a huge fan of this one as well, because again, it combines both of these plays to make one, really great play in my opinion. So the first thing we have here, obviously we're kind of lined up the same way, right? We have our players here in the post, aka at the elbow for this one. Our post players, usually our bigger players, are going to be number 5 and number 4. Somebody you can get the ball in that you feel comfortable with. You can pass it into one of these players. But in this situation, we're going to have number 3, instead of number 3 being a shooter, we're going to have number 3 being somebody who, we feel can score around the rim. So, maybe your actual 3, maybe you're small forward. You're not going to put a smaller player in this position, in my opinion. Okay, so what we're going to have happen right now is we're going to want to get the ball. And then the same thing for number 2, actually, I should say. Number 2, should be in the similar type of position as number 3 in this situation, because you might have to go to either side of the floor in this one. So we're going to get the ball in to start to number 4. So we want number 4 and number 5, both of these players posting up, facing the basketball. But we want to get the ball into number 4, right? We want our point guard, number 1, to pass the ball into number 4. That is our first step. Now, as that is happening, number 5 is then going to come up to about the three-point line, and they're going to set a screen for number 1. So number 1 is coming off that screen. Now, as that is happening, number 5, obviously, you're going to be right here. We're going to pass the ball back to number 5. So number 4 is going to pass the ball back to number 5. As that happens, number 4, they're just going to move out a little bit to the three-point line. But what number 1 is doing is they're moving all the way down to number 3 right here, and they're setting that flex screen. So we can have a flex cut here from number 3 all the way to the basket, and then we can feed the ball into number 3 for an easy layup. If we don't have, the ability to get the ball into number 3, that's okay, because we can either go to a dribble handoff here to number 4 or number 2. There are some other options here as well. So our play isn't stuck. But again, typically we're going to be able to get that flex cut here into number 3 for that easy layup, right? It's basically a flex offense, but we're setting up in a horns. All right, so let's look at it again. Let's run through one more time. So we have our point guard here, number 1 with the basketball. We have number 5, number 4, our 2 post players there at the elbow. All right, and we're going to start by getting the ball into number 4. So we want both of these players posting up or getting in front of their defenders. If we have to go to the opposite side, that's fine as well. But for the sake of demonstration here, we'll get the ball into number 4. Right, number 5 is going to come up and set that screen here for number 1. Right, then they're going to move up again, receive the basketball back. Number 1 is coming to set that screen here for number 3. Number 3 is coming off the screen. Right, and we're going to feed the ball into number 3 for that wide open layup that will most often be there, because this is a flex cut, flex screen, and we know that those are very effective when it comes to basketball plays. Okay, so for our final horns offensive set, this one's going to be a little bit easier. It's not going to be as complicated. It's going to use some stagger screens for a pick and roll. So you have our point guard here with the basketball up top. And the first thing that we're going to have right here is number 5 set a screen for number 4. Number 4 is coming off that screen, and they're immediately going to set a ball screen for number 1. Number 1 is coming off that screen, and as that's happening, number 5 is going to move up, and they're going to set that second stagger screen for number 1. So then number 5 is going to be rolling to the basket. Number 1 is going to have a wide open lane to the basket, and then you have 3 shooters outside the key, right? 3 shooters out here ready to receive the basketball. If we get a double team or the paint is clogged, we can kick it out to one of these players. It'll be a little bit more difficult to get it over to number 3 unless, number 5 has the basketball. But overall, we have 2 shooters here that we can kick the ball out to if the defense collapses in the key, right? Which is obviously very possible when you're doing a play like this. But this one's a little bit easier, just some simple stagger screens, right, out of a horn set. But again, that it will result in a pick and roll. How you use that pick and roll, whether it's a wide open layup, whether it's getting it to the roller, maybe a lob threat, or kicking it out to one of our shooters, that's on you. That's up to the players that you have on the floor.